Why is it that people can think one actor is the best actor ever versus someone else saying that the same actor is absolutely garbanzo? Acting is like one of those art forms, like any art form, where it's very subjective and personalized. You feel connected to some actors because of a variety of reasons. And one thing Hollywood is famous for is for hiring the hottest person in the room. But on this, people, the human race, are very visual. It's why we like clothes, shape, colors, and why good-looking people are easy to look at.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really ridiculously good looking?
But one side of acting that I feel doesn't get talked about is the visual aspect of it. Yes, directing and camera movement is a big part of it, but no one talks about the visual aspect of acting. And I'm not talking about their costumes, haircuts, or losing weight. Yes, the emotional inner life is extremely vital to the process, but the outer life might be even more important. Because if an actor has done all their work and they're in a big emotional scene, and while in the scene they are thinking all these sad things, but their face doesn't display it, well, then you got a stale performance. It just doesn't feel right. Hashtag no Oscar, I'm sorry, not sorry.
You suck.
Have you ever heard the term filling the frame?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Filling the frame is exactly what it sounds. You're not going to move a lot in a close-up because you're going to be in and out of focus, and it'll probably be very jarring for the audience and hard for them to follow because their eyes can't even follow you. Same thing with a wide shot. If the actor is doing subtle movements in a wide shot, we ain't going to be able to see what they're doing. We have to fill the frame. A teacher in college told us that a stale shot is a boring shot. Always have movement. It applies to acting too, but I think there's a second half to filling the frame that doesn't get talked about. Emotionally filling the frame. Most of the juicy Oscar moments are in a close-up so we can suck in all the emotion the actor is throwing at us. That's the emotionally filling the frame I'm talking about. Okay, so where are you going with this actortainment? So again, I asked the question of what makes a good actor. I think what creates a great performance instead of just a good one is how the actor emotionally fills the frame. Are they getting the emotion across to the audience? Is it checking all the boxes as an audience member needs for the emotional ride that the actor brings us along? Is it entertaining us, or do we feel emotionally connected to the character? Do we empathize with them?
Now why did I do that?
What's it look like when a good actor is emotionally filling the frame? A good example is the speech Tom Hanks gives in Forrest Gump to Jenny when she dies. Not only is this the final act and everything has built up just for her to pass, look how he's emotionally filling the frame. He doesn't overdo it. He lets it build, and when he arrives at the thought of their son, he emotionally starts to swell and rise to the surface. He starts to emotionally fill the frame. The two emotions of love and pain for her start to show. He fights to get his words out, and the last thought of the monologue pops up in his head. His lips tighten up as if he doesn't want to accept the fact that she's gone. As the camera pushes in, we lean into our seats to see what he's thinking. The emotional bomb has been dropped, which breaks us. He sniffles and tries to pull himself together.
If there's anything you need, I won't be far away.
With our hearts broken and tissues wiping our tears, we cut to a wide of him walking away. It doesn't just apply to heart-wrenching moments either. It applies to every emotion, such as Denzel Washington's King Kong speech in Training Day, how he fills the emotional frame with anger. First, the realization of what's happening, begging by repeating Jake with a soft voice, then using aggression to try to convince him, bargaining with him with a screw you smile. Once Ethan Hawke strips him of his armor of the police badge, his castle starts to crumble. He switches to violent anger, and he fills the frame and lets anger pour out of him by throwing his arms around, letting spit fly out of his mouth, digging his own grave by continuing to threaten to lock everyone up.
I'm winning anyway. I'm winning. Where I can't lose.
Next, acceptance. He backs up hobbling on his hurt leg and lights a cigarette with a smug laugh that he knows it's over. Can't get out of this one. Another example is in Man of Steel, the emotional torture of killing General Zod, the conflict that battles within him. In Castaway, when he loses Wilson, the pain of losing his best friend for years slowly floats away, never to be seen again. Brad Pitt in Fury having PTSD and trying to block out his anxiety. Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction filling the screen emotionally with intimidation. It applies to comedies too. In Step Brothers, when Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly emotionally film the frame with guilt that it's their fault for the divorce. And it's a much bigger performance, but that's okay because they can overdo it because it's supposed to be ridiculous. It's a comedy.
I'm going to throw up. I think I'm gonna throw
Don't
up.
throw up.
Come on!
Now what's it look like when the frame is not emotionally being filled by the actor?
It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
There's a lot already going wrong with the room, but let's look at his visual acting. Forget the accents. Accents don't matter. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a great example.
I'll be back.
The problem is he's stiff. Maybe he's trying to act, not letting the lines just come out, not live the lines. We only know how his character feels because he's literally telling us with the lines, not showing us. We only know what he's feeling because it's written in the lines in the bottle throw, which I will say is a nice touch.
10 points to Gryffindor.
In Aquaman, the flashback scene on the beach is another stale performance for me. No, not him. I remember seeing this in theaters and saying to myself, is Is this real? Is this really in the movie? I will give the actor some credit that maybe nerves came into play and the lines are kind of loaded or he didn't have enough time to prepare. But look at the way he's trying to act. How he's breathing heavily, scrunching his forehead, dramatically looking up, tilting his head awkwardly. It's just a performance that fell short for me, and maybe it's because he's opposite one of the greats, William Dafoe. Have you ever watched a play and you're sitting in the audience and you're moved by the performance? It's brought you to tears or it's made you laugh. Now, have you ever watched a play on YouTube? God, they can be so hard to watch because it's not filling the frame. It's a stale shot, and it's true. The frame isn't moving in some way, we get bored. It's why older movies can get slow.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Great acting on stage is completely different than great acting on film, and it goes back to filling the frame or filling the stage. One isn't better than the other, it's just different. On stage you have to play to the person in the last row, but in film you can get nice and personal in a close-up. Acting is just as much as visual, if not more, than the emotional side. It's why tear sticks work, because if it doesn't come across, then it's stiff, and the audience will lose interest in the characters. Even if you're an actor yourself and you feel the performance, you're in there, you feel the emotion. But the real question is, does the audience feel the performance? Are you emotionally filling the frame or stage? So next time you're watching a great performance, think to yourself, what are they doing visually that's getting the emotion across? Are they filling the frame emotionally? What makes them a good actor?